Hey guys, this is going to be a review of the first half of season 1 of Supernatural, so the first 11 episodes, and I decided to do it like that because that's kind of how I ended up doing How I Met Your Mother, like reviews for How I Met Your Mother, when I was still trying to catch up with that show and whatnot. I would review half a season because there are 22 episodes in the first season of Supernatural, and that just feels like too many to review at once to me, especially since they're very episodic, and so I kind of like want to mention every episode, and I know my How I Met Your Mother reviews were kind of the same way and it was difficult for me to do. So I'm just going to go with half of the season and the first 11 episodes. I might change that later, but that's what we're going with for now. So yeah, I started watching Supernatural like 2 months ago now, maybe, I don't really know. However long it took me to get through 11 episodes. But I knew about the show for a really long time and whatnot, but for a while I didn't really have plans to watch it, and then because it didn't sound like something I would be interested in, but then it kind of got put on this really long list of shows that I have to watch, and I just kind of put it on there and thought that I would get there to it someday, and then that finally happened. It helped that it was on Netflix. But I also got my sister into it, and she's a lot further than me already, so yeah, I don't know, because I had to work really hard to get her to watch it. Now she's like way past me. The reason that I was so kind of iffy about watching it was that I really don't like scary movies or any of that kind of thing. I do read a lot of fantasy, and a lot of that will go into like supernatural things, but it's all kind of the way it's presented for me. Like, if it's presented in like a scary movie sort of format, I don't really like it, or at least that's what I thought for a really long time, and I didn't like watching those sorts of movies. But in recent years I've become braver about watching scary movies, and in the course of becoming braver and actually watching scary movies I've realized that they really don't bother me as much as I always thought they did. So I had a few creepy moments watching Supernatural when I was in my dorm alone at night watching it, but generally speaking it hasn't really been that bad as I would have thought of it before, so that wasn't really a problem for me, like I was kind of worried that it would be. The thing is though, is even with scary movies, supernatural stuff tends to freak me out more than like killer stuff. Because like an example I always use, because Prom Night was the first scary movie that I saw in theaters, and I wasn't scared at all about Prom Night because it had like a tangible person who was like stalking her and creepy, and I don't have that, so I wasn't worried about it happening. But ghosts appear out of nowhere and can happen to anyone without warning, and so they freak me out more. So you'd think that Supernatural would bother me more, but like I said, recently I've realized that that's not really necessarily the case. So for the first couple of episodes of Supernatural I was still deciding whether I wanted to like completely commit to watching the entire series, and I really wasn't sure at first. It took a few episodes for me to be sure that I really did want to commit to watching it all, but eventually somehow, I don't even know when it happened, but it won me over, so to the point where I was bugging my sister to watch it while I was home for spring break, and was successful. So it was a ghost. Like I said earlier, I've always thought that ghosts scare me more. Like, I find them to be the scariest because they can just appear out of nowhere and whatnot. So when I was first watching the episode, I wasn't like, I don't know, it was probably the scariest Supernatural episode to me, and I feel like that's because I'm adjusting to it as I watch it. So like, going into the first episode I was still kind of in my notions of what scares me from before. Watching Supernatural and getting more episodes in, I feel like every episode I watch I'm less scared by whatever's in the episode because I've kind of like adjusted to it. But the first episode really freaked me out. Second episode had a character named Haley, which was awesome. Episode number 4 involved a demon and planes and whatnot. I don't really have anything to say about that episode other than the fact that they were at the Indianapolis airport for a little bit, and that was awesome because I love when Indiana is in anything, And of course I was watching the episode in Indianapolis, so I thought that was pretty awesome. Number 5 dealt with Bloody Mary. My only thing to say about that episode, which I suppose that this is a given considering it was dealing with Bloody Mary, but there was a lot of blood in that episode. I hate blood, which is really hard sometimes when I'm watching shows like this, because sometimes there's a lot of blood. Episode number 6 involved the shapeshifter, which was really disgusting. Every time he like shed his skin, that was like horribly disgusting. I couldn't watch those scenes at all. Episode 11 is a nice one to end on because it takes place in Burkittsville, Indiana, which is a made-up town. It's not real, thank God, because it was a creepy town. But he also, Dean mentions Salem and Scottsburg in that episode, which are 2 real towns that happen to be on my way from when I go home or to Indy between school and home. I pass those 2 towns like every time. We've stopped at Scottsburg like I don't know how many times while driving, and so the fact that they were mentioned was awesome. Burkittsville, like I said, isn't a real town, thankfully, but I also really loved when Dean made a comment that Indiana is not known for its paganism, because that's kind of what I was thinking at that moment, because you're trying to figure out what's going on with this town, and then when it comes up that it might be paganism, like I really had that exact thought before he said it, and I thought that that was really interesting that happened. Just this random town in Indiana where they celebrate paganism, and I don't know, that was really amusing to me. Also really creepy how they were regularly sacrificing people with no one picking up on it, but which provides a great view of Indiana. So I think that's all I have for these episodes. I feel like I should be saying more, but it's just so episode by episode, like I don't feel like I have much to say yet. That will probably change as I get further into the series, but I think that's all for now. So I will see you guys later. Bye.